Renowned as a cricketer and philanthropist, but considered more an international playboy than serious politician, suddenly Imran Khan is frontrunner to be Pakistan's next Prime Minister. His surge in popularity has seen him go from a party of one to leading huge rallies across the country. For tonight's special report, our Asia correspondent John Sparks has had exclusive access to Imran Khan on the campaign trail as he sells his anti-corruption and anti-American message.
Imran Khan.
His rivals used to mock him, but now he's mobilizing the masses. He's promised a revolution in Pakistan, a tsunami of political change. But this is a troubled nation of militant fighters and crippling corruption. Imran Khan says he's the man to save it, but what does the former playboy cricketer really stand for?
The battle is who's going to take on the status quo. It's not being anti-American, it's being anti this war on terror. People don't understand in the West.
To find him, you have to drive into the hills. His Mediterranean-style villa perched high above the nation's capital, Islamabad. We'd been promised unique access to the leader of the Justice Party, but when we got through the gates, Pakistan's former cricket captain was nowhere to be seen. We filmed the oranges picked for his breakfast and caught a glimpse as he walked the dogs, but he seemed distant. Was this the famed Lion of Lahore, or just another camera-shy celeb? Quite unexpectedly, Imran Khan has begun to pull hundreds of thousands to his rallies. It surprised the pundits his party doesn't even have a seat in parliament. But his attacks on corrupt politicians and Pakistan's relationship with America have found a passionate and youthful audience. So right now, he is a man in demand. And there's another large rally to get to.
Hi. John Sparks from Channel 4.
Should we go?
Yeah.
Go.
You can easily have all of them disqualified.
In the front of his brand new armoured car, Mr. Khan talks about crooked politicians with party colleagues. He's promised to rid Pakistan of corruption in 3 months. That seems an impossible task. So how would Imran Khan pull it off?
For me, 21 years on the cricket field and specifically 10 years as captain gave me invaluable experience in competing and struggling. It's my contention that you can never lose if you do not accept defeat. No one can defeat you.
This message of invincibility seems to be working. On our way to the rally, we found hundreds of supporters blocking the way, desperate for a handshake or maybe a photo, but they wouldn't get it.
Keep honking and moving.
Pakistani politicians have been assassinated in crowds like this. Here, however, it was just a shower of rose petals. They were ready and waiting in Balwal, a rural town in vote-rich Punjab. The Justice Party will need them if it's to sweep into power. These rallies are something new in Pakistan, carefully choreographed with music, prayer and populist content. A few years ago, he struggled to get anyone to attend his rallies, but attendance is not a problem now. His anti-corruption and anti-America messages, as well as the musical interludes, are going down well.
He wants to manage all departments of the Pakistan which are now failure, which are badly failure. He will manage all those departments and ultimately the country will rise, country will develop.
But you don't really think he will get rid of corruption in 90 days, do you?
Yes, he said so just now.
He's lived much of his life in the West, but makes frequent attacks on America. The US kills Pakistanis in drone strikes against militants, then silences the Pakistani government with aid, he says. It's strong stuff, and it struck a popular chord.
It's something which is unstoppable.
But his views on tackling terrorism may not be welcomed in the West. I asked him about it later.
Should the politicians in Washington, in London, fear you? I mean, there is plenty of anti-US rhetoric in your rallies.
Name anything which is anti-US. I have never been anti any society. Look, it's not being anti-American, it's being anti this war on terror. From day one, I have opposed it. It is the most senseless war ever fought.
That makes him a popular man in the country's tribal areas, a lawless region attracting both militants and US attacks. He says he'll withdraw Pakistani troops and start talks. His critics call him Taliban without a beard.
How do you fix it? I mean, you would have to give over territory in Pakistan to the Taliban.
Absolutely not. You will fix it with a political settlement, dialogue. I'll win the people over to our side. Truth and reconciliation, because their villages have been bombed, their women and children have been killed. So once there's ceasefire, jihad is over, truth and reconciliation, and then I will leave it to the people of the tribal areas to deal with the militants. It's the only way to solve the problem.
Bold words, but resonating widely. Like here in Karachi, Pakistan's biggest city, where we travelled to assess the popular mood. The majority of its residents are young and disillusioned with the dominant political parties. The Imran Khan advantage may just be the fact he's never been in government.
I mean, there's no more hope left. We've tried everyone. We've tried every party. He's our only hope.
Not everyone can stomach him. Mr. Khan, an unknown quantity, say some.
He goes to America, he'll speak against the Taliban, he'll come here, he'll speak against America. I don't think he knows exactly what it is that he wants, and I don't think he's a very astute politician.
Urban residents are hungry for news, and there's no shortage of networks here to provide it. Imran Khan's got plenty of airtime, and some say he's been given an easy ride. Critics alleging the country's powerful military establishment has intervened to ensure favourable coverage.
The intelligence agencies of this country began to monitor the situation. Indeed, they were going to people and saying, join Imran Khan, support Imran Khan. They were telling people in the media to support Imran Khan. He's a good man. These other people are rascals. We must have a clean person, and so on.
Imran Khan says it's people power pushing his party, not the military. And here in Lahore, those people include local politicians and their aides busy jumping ship. They're defectors from other parties looking for some face time. This a scramble for access and a chance perhaps to run on the Justice Party's election ticket.
Everybody wants to get on the bandwagon.
They want to get on the party, so they can...
bandwagon, yeah, on the party. And
they want a seat.
Yeah, some of them, they want a seat. But I tell you, when we give tickets, they'll only give tickets to the clean, neat, clean people.
The generals and politicians have promised sweeping political reform, like you have. That's been promised before, and it hasn't happened.
You know, everyone promises. I mean, no one says, I'm going to crush the poor and then comes to power. Everyone says, I'm for the poor. But it's when you get there, you find out who really meant it and who just used slogans to come into power.
As a cricketer and philanthropist, Imran Khan has long been Pakistan's golden boy. His ambition seems limitless, and he's promising the world. But it's a fractured nation plagued by terrorism. It's on the economic heap. And if the people of Pakistan elect him, he'll need more than star power to turn it around. John Sparks, Channel 4 News, Karachi.